So my demo cock is over there, so I'm just going to use my water bottle instead.
Okay.
Okay. So 2 hands. I like to do the pepper grinder, where you're like twisting in opposite directions and squeezing nice and hard. I like to do the bottle rocket, where you put one hand at the base to kind of hold it, and the other hand squeeze, pull off the top, squeeze, pull off the top, squeeze, all the way off. And then you go the other way, where you start with like a fist on top, and then you go down, fist, down, and that's called waterfall. Then there's 2 hands and like this. This is the fire starter.
Mm-hmm. Okay. See, this is why it's perfect to use lube, because all of this I'm picturing.
Totally. Like exactly. You have to have lube. I also like doing like an okay sign, like this. This is harder to do on a water bottle, but like going up and down like this, or you can make like a U shape and go up and down. You can do that with both hands, and like U up and down, okay, up and down.
And this whole time, you should not be worrying about the pressure, right? Like the more pressure, the better.
So
generally,
I don't want to generalize. What I would say is this is where communication comes in. It's really helpful if you say, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I can't feel it at all, and 10 being I feel like you're going to break my dick off, where are you? Like, and then you literally dial in the pressure. And if they're not comfortable using a Likert scale in the bedroom, then you can just be like, do you want it? Do you want me to squeeze more? Do you want me to try it like this and squeeze harder? Or do you like it better like this and don't, let your pressure out a little bit, and then let them decide. I call it the eye doctor test. Like, do you like it better when I do this or this? And then instead of having to be like, what do you like? And then they have to like try to explain or show you, and it's like on the spot, it's very confronting. You can give them options, and then they can just order like a menu.
I love that. That's so perfect. When I remember my very first encounter with a penis, I thought I was giving a hand job, but it was just me petting over the pants.
That's a precursor to a hand job.
I know. I was getting so close, and he was like, "Thank you, but you can go harder. You can actually touch my penis. You can like actually stroke it." It was so cute. It's actually very endearing. But I definitely thought I was like giving a hand job.
Like, I am phenomenal at this.
I was like, I hope this
just the softest touch,
the most action,
angel hands.
I know, because I was so scared of like hurting or whatever. So I'm glad we're touching on pressure. Yes, because that's definitely something in my head that I'm thinking of like, is this too much, too little?
Totally. Check in. You gotta ask, because at the end of the day, we are not mind readers, and unless you're waiting for your partner to like wince in pain, that you don't want to get it to that point. Yeah. You want to like check in and be like, hey, do you want it faster or slower? Because pacing is also important. Some people want it like this, and some people want slow, deep strokes. Some people want light, kind of energetic, etheric strokes. And that's the other thing. You can like just run your fingers over it, over the head, over, the different parts and the veins, the balls. Oh my God. The balls are such...
Yes. Get into the balls.
Let's get into the balls.
Cass and I both are like, yes, this is where we want to go. Let's go for the balls.
I love balls so much. I did not always. I used to be very intimidated by balls. I thought that I was going to hurt them. Like, all you ever see in TV is that they're like this huge danger zone.
Yeah.
But it turns out that they actually can feel amazing to receive touch. Now, check in with your partner first, because maybe they are super sensitive and they don't like their balls to be touched, or they want to kind of supervise until that they're confident that you're not going to fuck it up. That's valid. You do want to be a little bit more delicate with them, especially at first. But honestly, like, my boyfriend loves it when I just kind of pet his balls. Like, I run my fingers over them lightly. I kind of like butterfly stroke, or like it almost looks like a jellyfish, where like I let my fingers kind of trail over them, down the sides, behind the back. Like, I'll pull from the back gently and like let my 2 fingers like glide along his perineum. I might take them in my hand and just squeeze very gently and like pull very gently, just to see how that feels, and check in the whole time. How does this feel? Do you like this? Does it feel better when I do this or that? But like, I just love stroking his balls. And it's like one of his favorite ways for me to wake him up in the morning, even before he gets hard. Like, I'll just like kind of push his penis out of the way because it's kind of floppy at that point. And I just start playing with his balls. And sooner or later, like, he wakes up and he's like, good morning, sex. And I'm like, yes. Right?
Yeah. Wow. What a way to wake up. That's so much nicer than the way I wake up my partner.
Yeah.
Usually we're in a rush. So it's, I'm like, get the fuck up.
Yeah.
But I like your way. And I
Yeah.
think you would too.
I think you would too. But I need like things to do with the balls because I don't know, like exactly like you said, you're scared. So obviously you need communication, but you're always trained to like, don't ever touch the balls. But you hear from like Cosmo that sometimes touching the balls, I know it could be, but this was my like mecca when I was
I know. I used to read Red Book, like, and then I look back as a sex educator and I'm like, oh gosh, that's heteronormative and reductive. Yeah. Yikes. But I hear you. No, it's totally. Sometimes the first time anyone ever talks about sex in a remotely positive way.
Right. So I've only been like cupping them. I'm like, I don't want to go too hard, but like, here's some pressure.
Take the weight off of you.
A helpful thing to know about balls is that the skin of the balls is the same kind of skin as we have in our outer labia. Okay. So, you know, you don't have to tell me, but like if you play with your labia at all or have experimented with like tugging on them or stroking them or like massaging them when you're masturbating or maybe when your partner's playing with your pussy, that skin likes the same kinds of things. So you can kind of like rub the skin between your fingers. You can massage. You can run your hands over. Again, lube, real important.
Yeah.
But, you know, think of the ways that you like to play with your outer labia and try that on the balls.
Right. So when you are playing with the balls, is that with one hand or are both hands dedicated to that? Can one hand be stroking? I guess you'd have to. That's a lot.
Performance anxiety.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we're getting a very clear picture of how to do
that. I like to kind of change it up. I like to constantly kind of keep my partner guessing because that's how you do a marathon thing. Like if you do the same thing for 90 minutes, they're going to get bored after a while. But if you kind of change it up with some frequency, especially like checking in with them, do you want me to try something else or is this really good for you? Because maybe they're in a rhythm and they're getting real close and like they want you to keep going just like that. Yeah. So there's a situation where I love like having one hand stroking or just like massaging the pubic mound while I'm playing with the balls, or like I'll be going up and down with one hand and kind of pulling the balls, like making my fingers into almost a cock ring. So like going around them so that the balls are sticking out right here and like tugging on them very gently and putting a little bit of gentle pressure on them as I'm stroking. My boyfriend goes crazy for that move. I also, if you want a different position, this is one that's a little bit tougher for some guys, especially if they have like weird hangups about like submissiveness or whatever. But I have found that another fantastic position for hand jobs is having the person with the penis on their hands and knees. And you are kneeling or sitting to the side of them, like so their thigh is right in front of you, and you're stroking with one hand and you're playing with their balls like from behind. Oh my God, it's so good. It's like they're being milked. And it's like, it's a little bit of a mindfuck for them. But if they're into it, they'll be really into it. And if they're at least willing to try it, they might be pretty impressed with like how much leverage you can get. Because I like to use this part of my hand behind the balls and massage it. Because that's the perineum. You can indirectly stimulate the prostate without actually going inside. So I like massaging like that because it also allows you to massage the root of the penis, which goes into the body a couple of inches, and stroke it at the same time. And so you can kind of do this thing where you're just going crazy and they lose their minds.
You are a damn magician. I love it. Yeah, I feel like that would definitely be, you know, a thing to get used to for a guy or someone that's not used to being more submissive. You know, all right, get on all fours. But if it works, it fucking works. And, you know, like, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah, once they do it once,
I'm
sure it's
when they start coming through their ears, they're like, oh, maybe that actually is kind of a great idea.
Like, I'll get on all fours anytime.
Anytime you want.
You're just crawling around.
So you mentioned it a couple times, the perineum, and so I've heard the slang, I don't know if this is slang, gooch or taint or whatever. So where are those two spots? If there's two,
they're all the same.
Those
are all different words for the same spot.
Okay.
It's the area between right behind the balls and the asshole. That's the taint.
Okay. Gotcha. So that's stimulating to touch as well.
Super innervated. Lots and lots of yummy nerve endings in there. And, obviously respect your partner. Don't go anywhere near their butthole if they're not comfortable with it. And you might even, if you're playing with the perineum, they might get a little bit like, hey, you're getting a little, whatever. It's okay to reassure them. I hear you. I would never touch your butthole unless you invite me to. Like, this is not where that's going. I'm not going to surprise you. That's not okay. I respect you. Like, you can reassure them. Right. But there are so many yummy nerve endings in that area that to ignore it completely is kind of cheating them out of a lot of awesome pleasure.
So how do you touch it?
Yeah.
Like, how do you stimulate it?
I like to stimulate the way that you would massage your shoulder where it gets real tense, in here. It is a big muscular area. So I don't like to poke at it. I like to kind of use the heel of my hand on it or the meat of my thumb on it. I can do the thumb over thumb, massagey kind of pressure on it. Sometimes I'll do my knuckles going up and down on it can feel really nice, or the flat part of your fingers. Because the cool thing about your hands, which is they're so much more dynamic than your mouth, you can do so many different things with different areas. There's textures. There's, if you go in between, if you go next to, if you go here, if you go there, so many possibilities.
Yeah, if people aren't sold on doing more hand jobs by now, I don't know what will, because this is a whole other world. And that's amazing.
How would you use the back of your hands? I saw you when you're on the water bottle a little bit, but that is so outside of anything that I've ever heard before, and I love it. So I would love to just touch on it a little further.
So you can do a couple of things. You can actually stroke with the back of your hands like this, which is just a very different texture than your palm. You can use the back of your hand to kind of come up, up the perineum and press like that, and then use your knuckles. So you're kind of going like that. You can go around.
Massage therapist.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I really like being good at things that most people are not good at. It gets me off to blow people's minds in ways that they're not expecting. So if that pings in you and you're like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to be really good at something that they weren't expecting me to be phenomenal at, hand jobs are the thing.
Yeah, that's just whip out.
Look at these.
I have said, and I've had it said about me, someone said that I gave the Ferrari of hand jobs, and I like to say that I give life-changing hand jobs. And I can just casually throw that down on a first date, and these guys are like, what the fuck does that mean? I'm like,